Hey guys, today I'm reading I Walked, I Ran, I Jumped, I Flew. This is by Reaching for the Stardust. And it is 14,756 words with 6 chapters. So this is supposed to be a series. This is part 1 of Bitter Sharp, but there is only one part of the series so far. So if the series does get updated, I will read more of it. Anyways, here's the summary. Midoriya Izuku doesn't have much to live for. He's quirkless, which by society's definition means worthless. With no hope and no future, Midoriya Izuku prepares to say goodbye, or a vigilante AU, but not in the way you'd expect. Chapter 1: The Alleyway. Izuku is hiding in his favorite alley as he waits for Kachan to give up looking for him. It's an odd thing to have a favorite alley, but this one has 3 ground exits to take advantage of, and a fire escape he can jump onto from the dumpster if he really needs to. And most importantly, it has a cat, a stridely little runt of a cat that's missing an eye and yells furiously when he comes within a meter, but they'd come to an agreement a while back. He'd slip the little creature some of his bento, and the cat wouldn't give him away to his bullies. Plus, he gets to watch the little cat do cat things like groom itself and stare ominously at one of the dark brick walls like there's something there that Izuku can't see. He loves it. Best part of his day, really. But to be fair, that's an extremely low bar. But that's whatever. The sounds of Kachan's screeching quiet and then disappear entirely. Izuku sighs in relief and then moves so he can see his alley cat friend. "I'm really sorry," he tells the straggly creature that lazily winks at him, but with its remaining one eye. "But I won't be able to bring you food anymore. I'm not going to be around. I hope you're alright when I'm gone." Part of Izuku feels silly talking to a cat. The rest of him is just numb, because is this cat really the only living thing that he wants to say goodbye to after 13 years of living? Yes, it is. Izuku has left a note for his mother before leaving for school, and by the time she staggers into their apartment, he will be long gone. So he says goodbye to the cat and wishes it trusted him enough to give it a goodbye scratch behind the ears. With another sigh, Izuku straightens up from his crouch and then freezes. He can't see them, but his instincts are screaming that there's someone blocking his exit from the alley. It can't be Kachan, he'd be yelling. So who? Izuku whips around and takes a step back, arms raised defensively in front of his chest. The man standing in the alley entrance raises an unimpressed eyebrow. Izuku merely drops his arms and stares blankly at the dark-haired man. How the hell is this his life? "Kid, what the hell are you doing?" Izuku blinks, wonders if he can lie, and then immediately thinks better of it, opting for silence instead. "Okay, I'll say what I think is happening then," the man drawls out, sounding incredibly unimpressed. "There's a random, very much underweight kid in a crappy alley saying goodbye to a feral cat that hasn't let anyone that close to it in 5 years, like he's about to either run away from home or kill himself." Izuku trembles and can't help the way his breathing accumulates in fear, because the man, right, and clearly insanely good at making logical connections, the spider lily poking out from his backpack might have something to do with it too. "Ah," the man says. "It's the latter then. A runaway would have run by now." Izuku shrugs listlessly. He sees the man give him a quick once-over. "Let me guess," the man drawls. "Quirk discrimination?" Izuku nods numbly. It's accurate enough, and he can't be bothered with semantics right now. I know something of that, the taller man comments idly. He's still very deliberately blocking the alley entrance, so Izuku can't bolt. Normally he'd at least try to scale the walls, but his shoulder is still burning from Katran's quirk, and with the length of the man's legs, the other two exits were visible won't get him very far. I erase other people's quirks, the man continues, confirming who exactly Izuku is talking to. Izuku hums thoughtfully, before saying carefully, "People don't like that, do they?" The man doesn't look surprised, merely lightly amused. Izuku is clever at seeing what people don't want him to, though. How did you figure that? Izuku shrugs. It's logical, he says. People don't like things that don't have quirks. I don't have a quirk, so people don't like me. It follows that people don't like that you make them not have quirks. That's messed up, the man says, and he sounds mildly impressed by Izuku's reasoning. Izuku shrugs again. That's just how people are. Why are you telling me this? Shrugging is quickly becoming Izuku's preferred form of communication. I don't really know, Mr. Eraserhead, sir. There, more carefully concealed surprise, but no disgust. Izuku eyes the vigilante weirdly. He is many things he expected, blunt, with a harsh tone, and sharp as a tact. But he's also something Izuku hadn't expected. He's kind, even if he's rough around the edges. That's not something Izuku had predicted whenever he had analyzed the exclusive vigilante. He'd known to be viciously efficient with a higher capture rate than most limelight heroes, along with near zero incidents involving civilians getting harmed. However, Eraserhead noticeably violent. Eraserhead is also notoriously violent. While he's never killed, many of the worst villains he's taken down have been dumped at police stations with at least 2 snapped limbs. Said limbs are often broken in strategic places that even in this miracle age of quirks tended to never heal quite right. After a long moment of silence, Izuku sighs. "Why are you here?" he asks the vigilante. He smiles sharply at him in response. "Why not?" "You heard me say I didn't have a quirk, right?" It's Eraserhead's turn to shrug. "So," he says, "I often end up dealing with people that don't have quirks. Because you erase them," Izuku retorts, before he can stop himself, and he clamps his hands over his mouth fearfully, eyes wide. Eraserhead, instead of getting angry like anyone else would, grins wolfishly. It's a terrifying thing, and Izuku's not mistaken. The man has fangs. "Well, I won't deny that," he snaps his fingers suddenly. "Come on, Bat. I'll buy you a meal." Izuku pauses for a moment and then shrugs his agreement. He's planning on dying tonight, one way or another, but a last meal has a nice finality to it. And Eraserhead probably won't kill him and leave his body to be found in an alley under mysterious circumstances. And if he does, well, Izuku's plans already involved his death. Murder or suicide, Izuku ends up free. So Izuku practically follows Eraserhead, who doesn't so much as remove his scarf as he takes them to a hole-in-the-wall ramen shop. It's clear he's a frequent customer by the way the old lady running it waves Eraserhead into a booth that has clear views of all entrances, not even batting an eye at the vigilante or a teen in a stinged greña. It's fine. Izuku prefers being ignored. The ramen is the best Izuku's ever had. Not that he's had many opportunities to go out to eat with his mother. He happily slurps the noodles and sips on the broth, ignoring the vigilante beside him. But Eraserhead seems just as focused on his own food, and doesn't try to talk beyond asking Izuku's name. So it's a good last meal, Izuku decides, and sips at his green tea when he finishes the bowl in record time. Eraserhead takes a few more minutes, but from the man's healthy and lethal build, Izuku is pretty sure he has access to more than one meal a day, so the food isn't as urgent for him. When Eraserhead finishes, he sets the bowl and chopsticks down and gives Izuku a thoughtful once-over. So, he says dryly, how are you planning on doing it? Izuku would flinch, but with the warm food settling in his stomach and the events of his day catching up to him, he just shrugs. Jumping, Izuku mutters. The abandoned building downtown. It's also the one that Amit had left him on after the shit show of the previous day. It can't be said that Izuku isn't a fan of dramatic symbolism. I know the one, Eraserhead confirms. Good choice. It's certainly tall enough. Izuku really can't tell whether the man is being sarcastic or not, so he decides to just ask. Why? Izuku asks tiredly. Why did you bring me here? Why did you buy me food? Eraserhead tilts his head, dark eyes fixed on Izuku. Why shouldn't I? There it is. The answer Izuku has wanted to hear for years, right in time for his death. How poetic. He snorts fiercely. You're the first to say that, he mumbles to the table, so forgive me if I don't believe you. Eraserhead huffs out a harsh chuckle. Sure, he says, forgiving. They lapse back into silence and sip their tea for a few more minutes, before Eraserhead, his expression intenses, very deliberately puts his cup down. What were your plans before suicide? He asks, and Izuku leans forwards and hides his face in his arms on the table. I wanted to be a hero, he admits shamefully. But if high schools and universities don't accept quirkless students into general courses, they certainly won't allow one into heroics. I have no future anyways. Eraserhead lets out a sharp breath. No schools at all? No, said Izuku flatly. I went through every single admissions guideline for high schools in Japan. Not one allows quirkless students to even apply. Shit, Eraserhead hisses. I haven't realized things had gotten so bad. It's just how it is. Neither of them have to say how it shouldn't be. If, Eraserhead starts slowly, another option becomes available to you, would you still want to die? Izuku ponders this for a moment. Probably, he concedes, but I'll postpone my plans to see what the option is first. He knows that simply having a plan won't stop his desire to die. At least you're honest, Eraserhead mumbles. I can work with that. Izuku finally sits back up and sips at his green tea again. He knows his expression is lifeless. His mannerism more akin to a living doll than a teenager. But it is what it is. He's a monotone with only one string left, and Izuku will be cutting it tonight. Okay, I'm interrupting your evening plans, Eraserhead says firmly, and Izuku chokes on his tea, because he can even ask an incredulous why the vigilante is tugging him out the door more than enough money left on the table for their meal. But at this point, Izuku is tired, so he follows the man limply, and tries not to think about how the man's grasp on his wrist is the first non-violent contact he's had in years. Eraserhead's breath hitches strangely, but when Izuku looks up at him, his face is impassive. When they reach a small park, Eraserhead lightly pushes Izuku onto a bench and then crouches in front of him. He examines Izuku carefully, before humming in approval. "You do a lot of running?" Izuku nods numbly. "Any strength training?" Izuku shakes his head. "Flexibility?" He does yoga every morning. It helps with joint pain, all the running causes. He's got to get away from bullies somehow, and fighting back isn't an option. Eraserhead accepts that with a quiet hum and a mumbled, "It's a good start." He doesn't bother asking if Izuku has self-defense training. They both know no classes would accept him because of his quirk status. Family? Just my mother, but it's not good. Last question. Why do you want to be a hero? To save everyone who's ever been like me, Izuku mumbles. Anyone that's cried out for help and been ignored, being beaten for who they are. I want to be better than everyone who's ever hurt me by being kinder and saving myself. Alright, said Eraserhead quietly. When Izuku finishes his little speech, his eyes are so kind and betray his own otherwise neutral expression. Midoriya Izuku will die tonight. Izuku blinks. That wasn't what he was expecting. Eraserhead smirks at him. "I can't make you a hero," the man says, "but that's not the only way to save people." It takes a moment before it clicks, and Izuku's mouth drops open slightly. He's going to be a vigilante? Eraserhead reaches forward and gently pushes Izuku's jaw closed. "If you can keep up." Izuku clenches his fist, determinedly. "I can." "Good," Eraserhead says firmly, a hint of pride in his voice. "First lesson, how to fake your death." It's surprisingly and disturbingly easy to fake Midoriya's death. They make sure there's footage of the kid walking towards the bridge and then leave his shoes and a note at the top. That's all it takes. The shoes and the note are reported by a distraught and well-meaning civilian who passes by only 20 minutes later, and the police arrive. They read the note, confirm the ID registration, and declare Midoriya dead. They don't check nearby security cameras. They don't bother looking on the river shores for a body. They don't do anything at all. Besides Shota, where they're watching from a nearby apartment roof, Midoriya trembles. Hesitantly, he puts a grounding hand on the kid's shoulder. What can he possibly say to comfort the kid who no one cares enough about to even look for? The world is cruel. Shota knows this. And right now, it's breaking this kid, this child who has only ever wanted to help. It's broken him before, and he's healed. But this, Shota prays the kid will survive this, because this is only the beginning. 12 months later, the vigilante crossout hits the streets, a silent shadow to Eraserhead. The villains of Massive Fizzle learn very quickly that while he's small, he's fast and vicious, and a clear apprentice to the well-established vigilante who has avoided capture for well over a decade. So that was the first chapter. I also read this fanfiction today, and figured, what the hell not? Might as well start another series. So I think I have let's see, 1, 2, 3, 4, 5 series going on. So I'll see if I can get another part for Family Regardless of Blood or Time, because I do want to continue that one, and it only has 4 parts, so it should be easier. Because it's been days, so I think my bruising on my head's going down and my slurring of words is stopping. Anyways, I'll see you guys later. Peace.